Hello and welcome to another edition of the Auto Section here at wozeroff.com and our fabulous YouTube channel. And hey, take a look at what we're working with here. This is Edmonton, my friends. This is the middle of November, and like 3 days ago it was minus 18, and today it's raining. So you can see what our videographer Elliot Ma has to put up with as we look at this week's vehicle, the Mazda CX-3. The CX-3 is part of the wave of compact utility vehicles that have become all the rage in the last few years. Virtually all of the manufacturers are rushing in to offer something in the segment. Think of Toyota's latest CHR, the Honda HR-V. The Mazda CX-3 was one of the leaders. They've been out for a couple of years now, and for 2018, they have improved on a number of levels their original platform. And I want to stress here, the model we're looking at is a GX. This is the absolute entry-level model for the CX-3, so there's not a lot of frills on this vehicle, and it uses a manual transmission. I happen to like all of these things, and as long as you're not expecting a lot of luxury touches, I don't think you'd be disappointed in looking inside one of these either. The price is certainly right, and the vehicle has all the necessary components for any kind of daily driving, as well as offering a nice little platform with a lot of storage space, larger trunk space, and still room for passengers in a car that's an appropriate size for city driving and not monstrous on gasoline consumption either. Now the basics of it are this. My GX Tester is, like I say, a base model, manual transmission, front wheel drive only, and interestingly, you can only get the manual transmission in the front wheel drive model, and the availability of a manual for the CX-3 is new for this year. All of the CX-3s use a 2-liter 4-cylinder Skyactiv Mazda engine, putting out a uniquely balanced 146 horsepower and 146 pound-feet of torque. It runs on regular fuel and promises to deliver 9.0 liters per 100 kilometers for fuel economy with the manual transmission. Now, Mazda states some of the major changes for the 2018 model year versus last year are reduced levels of noise, vibration, and harshness inside the cabin, improved ride comfort, which will be appreciated by the people who end up riding in the back seat of this little vehicle, redesigned steering wheel, improved meter display quality, better visibility, higher contrast, etc., and also the introduction of something called G-vectoring control. Overall, I would say that there's a lot to like here, though the CX-3 is basically a compact hatchback with slightly better ground clearance than an average car. In fact, I remember driving a first generation of one of these on an off-road course a couple of years ago, back-to-back with Honda's then-new HR-V, and I found at the time that the CX frankly had better ground clearance underneath it than the Honda did. I don't have a lot of criticism about the car, frankly, and I've met a number of satisfied owners of CX-3, but as a caveat, I want to add that most of the people I've talked to own higher trim levels of this vehicle. With the base GX that we're using for our video here, though, let me mention that a buyer will do without some of the niceties that come with more expensive versions of the car, the GS and GT trims. And I'll tell you one thing that I wish it had had, and that's a blind spot monitor and rear cross-traffic sensor. Those things are actually pretty useful features that I'm starting to consider to be a must-have in any car. And another thing, I found it strange how that it's keyless start, but it's not smart key entry. You still have to stop and take the key out of your pocket to unlock the doors. And while it has a shift prompter, which is actually pretty handy especially for people who, like me, tend to forget what gear they're driving in sometimes when you're using a manual transmission, is a pretty handy thing to have. This one doesn't have navigation, or at least the navigation module isn't enabled. It could be, of course, and it also lacks a digital speedometer and heated seats. So, think about that. Then again, what do you want for this kind of money? You're going to get cloth upholstery and not a great deal of technology. And it certainly is possible to build the CX-3 up to over the $30,000 mark by adding some of the packages and add-ons that are available and opting for an all-wheel drive version of the car. But for the roughly $20,000 entry price of this one, it still provides a pretty versatile and economical car that adapts well to urban environments. Thanks as always for watching, and please feel free to check out our feature at wozeroff.com, as well as a list of specs that I don't feel like reciting here. Thanks.